excellent idea. And to get back to the high school thing, I think we brought that up a couple times. But I'm not sure, as far as those being on the pilings and all the kinetic that's involved.
Right.
That it may be a little difficult.
Well, and I was thinking downtown or something, where you
Oh,
have
yeah.
foot
No, I
foot traffic,
agree.
but.
I think that's an excellent idea.
So.
Thank you.
Next in Public Works, we have an ordinance adoption on community trip reduction, then in professional services with our engineering firm. I want to note, as preface to the engineering firm authorization, there's kind of a twin to this under community development, and this would create an authorization under a contract that is updated so it's current, so we have a good, live, current contract, and it would not create any sort of entitlement, obligation to spend, and I know that the staffers are going to be very careful about how much of that they spend, and they know that we need to kind of be safe. So that's a little introduction, and Jim, you're handling commute reduction, right?
Yeah, and basically, just wanted to basically update our ordinance on the commute trip reduction. And I think you all have the agenda packet there. I'm not sure if you've read through the whole thing, but that would be modification of 10.34 of municipal code. And actually, the city attorney recommended repealing that section and adding 10.35 to be adopted. So additionally, staff is submitting the interlocal agreement with the cities of Vancouver, Camas, Washougal, and Clark County. And the purpose of the agreement is to establish a mechanism for maintaining compliance with CTR laws. And with that, I'd just like to open it up for some questions. I'm filling in for Trevor Evers tonight, so if there's something I can answer tonight, I can always get back to you with an email or something like that.
I do have some questions.
Sure.
On page 3, under the definitions, drive alone is defined as meaning a motor vehicle occupied by one employee for commute purposes, including a motorcycle. Now, are these definitions driven by state law, or these are definitions that we adopt voluntarily, or is there any leeway here?
You know, I can't specifically answer that question tonight. I'm not exactly sure, Mr. Delavar, but I can sure get back to you on that one.
Yeah, because it just seems to me that motorcycle, well, I don't know this for a fact, but I don't believe motorcycles necessarily add as much emissions or are as much of an impact as regular cars are. My understanding is that they burn significantly less fuel, and so it would be very curious to me as to why that would be specifically part of this. Okay, got some others. Let's see. Well, I'll get back to my other questions in a second. Let me just find another one here.
Rod?
My understanding, somebody made the comment, I don't know if it was at the retreat or not, but I thought the comment was made that we only have one business in town that even qualifies for this. What happens if we don't address this? Does anybody in the room have that answer? If we just said, hold it, we're not gonna bother with this, it's not gonna be a part of our process, what happens? I was hoping Lloyd was here.
Yeah.
He's still close. Do you have any clue if we don't comply with CTR, if we just drop it out of our vision, do you know? Excuse me.
I think Joanne.
What happens?
It's my understanding that this is a state regulation and we would be out of compliance. And there could be some potential to withhold funds for other things related to streets and roads if we don't participate in some way. I'll get an exact answer and email it to you in the morning.
My belief is that what you said is correct, but let us check to be sure on all of these questions. and then get this back to you. This has been pending for a while, and if it takes another 2 weeks to find out the answers to these questions, let's be sure.
So outside of Jim dealing with it like it is tonight, is that really about all we do in the city, from city council, city staff? 'Cause we don't go down and make Pendleton comply, do we?
Right. Well, I can add a couple of things. Ariana is our internal coordinator, and twice a year, she promotes the program, if you will, and we do like a little, she'll go around to each of the departments, maybe have a little granola bar or whatever to encourage employees to participate. As a twice a year, 2-week program where you opt in some other commute trip reduction, be it riding your bicycle, van pooling, even reduced work schedule qualify, if you will. So she promotes that twice a year, and the whole program offers incentives, if you will, to organizations to participate.
So it's an unfunded mandate.
Actually, it comes with funding, but not enough.
Right.
May I waded through this thing in some detail. I had to do it in 2 sessions because halfway through it, I was so angry that I had to put it aside for a while. This ordinance requires more paperwork and dedicated employer time and expense than the minimal benefits that it promises. It also requires considerable city staff time and effort. And by the way, exterior wood comes close to 100 people in the summertime. A good summer would put them over. Last summer, they were at 95. So they could be subject to this too. This ordinance is based on 2 things. One is a state mandate, and I started to say unfunded mandate, but it's funded, but not very well. And the mandate interferes in the business of the city and tells us how we're supposed to run this city. It's also based upon politically driven hysteria, which is aided and abetted by faulty science. The results of this ordinance will include the following: businesses refusing to locate in Washougal. 2, unnecessary burdens on existing employers. 3, decisions by current employers not to expand operations in Washougal. 4, lost job growth opportunities. And 5, lost tax revenues. I think that we need as a group to join with the administration, go to Olympia, sit in front of the committee that does this atrocity, and tell them that we've informed them of the unnecessary burden that they're putting on the city, and seek a revocation of this ill-conceived legislation. Why should they be telling us in infinite detail how to run the city? That's my objection to this thing. And I foresee some real consequences to this thing. I don't see a heck of a lot of benefit. Thank you.
Could it affect the funding we're talking about for E Street? Is it that level of slap you around if you don't comply?
Yeah, I know that, we have regional transportation, and I know this was brought up at our RTC meetings. But as far as East Street goes and the funding